We'll see how many keep coming in February. The new year. Can you see okay with that? Because I set this up. Well, and it's also the new year because people are, the whole resolution thing, like I'm gonna, yeah. That's why I never set resolutions. It's just a continuum. Get rid of what I don't need anymore and then make room for the new. This one I did class yesterday.
I was gonna say, how hot did the room get by the end? I can't imagine.
Yeah, I had to put the air up or down a little,
Yeah.
Speaker system. And you've got, the music. Should be relatively easy.
You have Bluetooth?
Yeah. I was thinking that yesterday. It was such a big class. I'm like, my little speaker was probably so inefficient.
Your voice doesn't.
Yeah. Hi, ladies. Is that Olivia that's joined us? Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Rochelle, hello. Deb, you're back online. And Dee, hi.
Good morning. Oh, it's Olivia.
Oh, Olivia. Wait, Olivia, does yours say D?
Does it say what?
Oh, no, I see somebody else that says D. D, can you hear me? Looks like she's still working on it. And then somebody else. We've got 4 online. Oh, no, 3. If those at home that are joining us from home could just pop on for a second, unmute yourself and tell me your name, that would be great. Oh, I can't, you're still muted.
Okay, my name is Dee. Hi, Nan.
Yeah. Welcome to the class. Today's class is intermediate yoga. So.
Okay, got it.
And then hi, Dad.
Hi. Yeah, yesterday was a good crowd.
I know. They all wanted to be with you. They knew you were
I was
coming.
excited to be there, but I thought today this might be easier.
Today's a little spaced out.
Yeah.
Did you have 30? Were there
Had
30 people in there?
34 yesterday.
How many?
34.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then Olivia's on, and there's one more person on. It just says iPad.
Okay.
I'm iPad and then there's an iPhone.
And I'm iPad.
So Olivia, I think your iPhone.
No, I'm on my iPad.
Oh, your iPad. Okay, so whose iPhone?
I don't know who that is.
Let me ask to unmute. Whoever this person is, I'm asking you to unmute if you can just pop on and tell me your name. Or not. All right. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and mute you all so that there's no background noise. And welcome, welcome. Thank you for bringing me into your home. All right. So I think with the flurry of yesterday's crowd, completely forgot that it was Martin Luther King Day yesterday. And I always really enjoy teaching on Martin Luther King Day because of one of the Yoga Sutras and ancient teaching. So no problem. So the ancient teachings of yoga came to us 3,000-4,000 years ago. And they're, I mean, just like any other spiritual book, they're just ethical guides, you know, of how to live your life. And the very first limb of our 8-limb path are the yamas. And the yamas are sort of a roadmap to how we view others. And they're restraint, like they're asking us to restrain our behavior as it relates to others and how we view others. So the very, very first one is ahimsa. And ahimsa translates to nonviolence. And Martin Luther King, Gandhi, Mother Teresa, all these figures that we've seen in our lives, they have practiced. Their whole life mission was ahimsa. And it's the very, very first part of yoga. And they even teach it to kids in India before they teach them any physical practice. They teach them the yamas and the niyamas. So there's 5 yamas, there's 5 niyamas. And that represents the first and the second limb. The 4th limb is when we get to the physical practice, and it's just one of the 8. So a lot more to yoga, you know, than the physical part. And the ancient teachings believe so much in ahimsa and nonviolence, practice of nonviolence, that they put it at the very, very first lesson of the whole yoga, of all the yoga teachings. So bringing ahimsa into our practice, so we tend to say it's non-harming, so don't hurt yourself. Kind of makes sense, right? Don't hurt yourself in your yoga practice. But it's really a reminder of our restraint toward other people's behaviors and practicing nonviolence and non-harming behavior toward others. But part of that is if we're not harming ourselves, then we're treating people the same way. So that's kind of the lesson. We have one more joining us. Hello, hello, full crowd from home today. So let's Rose looks so comfortable. Let's join her on her back. I know. So come to your back. And instead of having the legs stretched out long, bend your knees so your feet come to the mat, and then heel toe your feet to the width of your mat. So your pinky toe is maybe just coming off the edge. There's a comfortable distance between your sits bones and your heels. Just find a sweet spot where you really feel like you can release any effort in your legs, any effort to hold them in this position. And then allow your thighs and your knees to fall together and bring your hands to your belly. And spread your fingers. Start to do a body scan of the back side of the body. Notice how that middle part of your back probably wants to lift off the mat. See if you can bring awareness to it. Start to let it settle into the mat. So in a few breaths, allow the exhale to let you drop the weight of the backside of your body into the mat even more. And your gaze and your nose facing up toward the ceiling. So your cervical spine, the neck, is neutral. I could probably come around right now with a pencil and just slide it right under the neck. So there's no pressure. There's no pressure in that back part of the neck, just allowing the natural curvature of the spine to soften against the mat. And then soften into your breath. Allow yourself to arrive in this space, this rectangle space that is your mouth. Consider this rectangle a retreat amidst the demands of your daily life. And allowing yourself to connect with your breath here as a way just to check in with how you are today, how you're coming to your mat today. And start to think about this teaching of ahimsa, living a life of kindness and compassion for yourself, others, the world around you. How can you weave that into your own life? How can you practice ahimsa on and off your mat today? What if we shifted our intention to simply taking the time to be with ourselves in a nurturing, non-judgmental way? To be present without any agenda, with our bodies and minds as they are. So as you move through your practice today, try and set aside the need to, quote unquote, improve your pose or yourself. Simply just allow the asana experience to unfold moment by moment, just as you are here, allowing this moment to unfold moment by moment, letting the body settle. And then slowly we'll add in some movement here. So keep the legs just as they are. Inhale the arms overhead. And exhale the arms alongside you. Inhale the arms overhead. And exhale the arms back down 2 more times. Inhale, float them overhead. Palms facing the ceiling. Exhale them back alongside. And then we're going to separate the knees. Drop the knees over to the right as you float the arms overhead. As you exhale, float the arms down, windshield wiping the legs over to the left as the knees drop. Inhale the arms back overhead. Flowing with the breath, exhale the arms down as the knees come through center, dropping them down to the right. One more time each side. Inhale the arms overhead. Exhale, lowering the arms as the knees move to the other side. And one more inhale overhead. And exhale, lowering them down, bringing the knees to face the ceiling, and then draw the knees into your chest in this wide state. So your knees are coming now in line with your armpits. Still keep the whole back in contact with the mat. And just rock a little bit from side to side. So sort of a half happy baby. Notice how the whole back is in contact with the mat. So as we move in a happy baby, turning the feet to face the sky, you still want your low back, especially your sacrum, to be flat. Wrap your hands, maybe take the elbows to the inside of your knees, helping to open the hips a little wider and wrap your fingers around the outside of your calves. Feet are flexed, facing the ceiling. And now draw with your hands, draw the knees down toward the earth. Notice the whole back in contact with the mat. And then straighten the right leg. Rebend it. Straighten the left leg. Rebend. Straighten the right leg. Rebend. Straighten the left leg. And rebend. Hug the knees into your chest. Bring the hands underneath the knees and either rocking forward and back to come up to a seat, or if you prefer to roll onto your right side and then push yourself up, that's fine too. Coming up to a seat, crossing the legs, bringing your hands together in front of your heart. Press the palms into each other. Take the elbows out wide. Noticing this little spark, this energy that you're creating in your chest. Soften the gaze or close the eyes. Start to let the chin drop towards your chest and set your intention for your practice. Opening with the sound of Om, lifting the chin to be parallel with the floor. Draw your head back a little bit. So imagining your earlobes in line with your shoulders. Rooted in your sits bones, we're going to Om on our next exhale and really feel the navel draw toward the spine as you Om. So take your inhale. Om. Beautiful. Rock forward to hands and knees, uncrossing the legs. Take the knees as wide as your mat, bringing your toes toward each other. Move your seat toward your heels to come into this wide-legged child's pose. Maybe a block supports under your head, or if you're able to let the chest, the heart, the forehead bow toward the earth. Slowly lowering down, deepening into this child's pose, and then moving into what we call our Ujjayi breath, our breath of victory, where we inhale through the nose and make your first exhale, make the ha sound out of your mouth. Ha. And then inhale through your nose. Next exhale, close the lips, but try and make that same ha sound. Feeling a constriction in the back of your throat. So maintaining this as your metronome for your practice today. Inhaling and exhaling with that constriction in the back of your throat. And just feeling how it regulates you. Another couple breaths here. And then slowly lift up halfway. We're going to walk our fingertips over to the left. Drop your belly on that left thigh. Try and keep moving the right sits bone toward the right heel. And reach a little further with your right fingertips, getting a stretch for this right side. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Settle that right sits bone a little closer to the heel, but getting that stretch, opening up this right side. One more breath in. And out. Inhale to lift up, walking the fingertips back through center and over to the right side now. Same thing. Guide that left sits bone toward the left heel as you lower, reaching a little further with the left fingertips, opening up this left side now. Breathe in. And breathe out. So the head is soft, the neck is soft. One more breath in and out. And then inhale to lift back up, coming back through center and walking back, hands back, knees under the hips, finding tabletop pose. Tuck your toes under and spread your toes. And then push your seat toward your heels just to feel that bit of stretch for the arches and the toes. And then inhale back to tabletop as we inhale our way into cow pose, tilting your tailbone up. On your exhale, tops of the feet on the mat, tuck your tailbone under. As you tuck it under, let that round the spine, chin to chest. Then start to tilt the tailbone up, tilting the pelvic the opposite way. Notice how it lengthens your spine and the chest opens. Exhale, gazes to your navel as you tuck. Again, tuck your tailbone. Let that tucking action create the rounding in the spine. Feel the opening across the upper back. Next, inhale, reverse the pelvic, tilting the tailbone. Feel that lengthening out through the spine, the chest opens. And then one more exhale, gaze to your navel, tuck your tailbone. And then come to neutral. Tuck your toes under, lift your knees and shins about an inch off the mat and push back. Push your belly to the tops of your thighs and then slowly straighten the legs, the hips lifting up toward the sky, downward facing dog. Pedal out your dog. Drop one heel, bend the other knee, and alternate. Feeling that stretch in the backs of the legs. And then lift your heels up high. Bend your knees a little bit, so you're about halfway, and push back. So your belly is really resting on the thighs. Tilt your tailbone up, feeling your sits bones widen, and now straighten the legs again. Let the heels drop just to a natural, comfortable place. And then bring awareness to your neck. If you feel your shoulders bunching up by your ears, try and hide your armpits from your neighbor, externally rotating the upper arms. And then inhale, rock forward to plank, drop your knees back down to the mat. And then sit on your heels. We're gonna inhale, lift up on your knees, float the arms overhead, and exhale into child's pose, taking the arms alongside your back. Crown of the head dropping toward the mat. Inhale back to tabletop, right into cow pose, tilting the tailbone. Exhale into cat, push your seat to your heels, and then on your inhale, come up on your knees, floating the arms overhead. So a mini vinyasa here, warming us up. Exhale into child's pose. Inhale, coming to tabletop, inhaling into cow. Exhaling into cat, pushing your seat to your heels, and then lift up on your knees, floating the arms overhead, palms touch, and then exhale, child's pose. And then round up to sitting on your heels. rock a little forward so you can tuck your toes under, getting a little extra stretch, and then maybe the seat comes to your heels. If that's too intense, you can come up on your knees. And a little bit for our shoulders. So keep the arms in front of you. Draw the arms into your shoulder sockets. Cross right elbow over left. Bend at the elbows. Bring back the hands to touch. Gaze is looking forward. Maybe you can wrap the hands to touch. And then draw the elbows down so your gaze is looking right at your hands, the side of your hands. Draw the shoulders toward each other in the back. And now lift the elbows up. And exhale, lower, rounding down. And then lift back up and release those arms and shake them out and rock forward, tops of the feet on the mat. Sit back on your heels without your toes tucked under. Other side, arms come out in front. Draw the arms into the shoulder sockets. This time, left on top. Yep. Left on top of right. Elbows bend. Backs of the hands touching, or maybe you're able to wrap. Now draw elbows down so you're looking at the sides of your hands, almost like the right eye. Your hands are right in the middle of your gaze. And then lift the elbows up, draw shoulder blades toward each other, up, 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 and then round, folding forward. And come back up and release those arms, shake them out. Beautiful job. Rock forward to tabletop and tuck your toes under, straighten the legs, find your way into downward facing dog. A few breaths here. Breathe in. Breathe out. Look between your hands and walk your feet up to the top of the mat. Bend your knees, flip the arms out to the sides, straighten the legs, come to stand, arms float overhead, interlace your fingers, index fingers pointing straight up. Inhale to lengthen, exhale, side bend to the left. Inhale through center, side bend to the right. Inhale through center, side bend to the left. Inhale through center, side bend to the right. Keep the fingers interlaced as we bring them behind the head. A little bit of a back bend for our upper back here. So I want you to lengthen down through the low back. Almost as if you're pushing your thighs and hips forward a little bit. Inhale, lengthen up through the spine, and exhale, draw the elbows back. Maybe the gaze looks up. Holding here. Inhale. Lengthen a little bit more. Exhale, just the upper back arching. One more inhale to lengthen. And exhale, and then inhale back to neutral. Bring the elbows in tight. And then just allow the chin to drop to the chest for a couple of breaths. Breathe in. Breathe out. Push the back of the head into the hands a little bit. Getting a deeper stretch in that cervical spine. And then come back to neutral. Let the arms drop down. We find mountain pose. Tadasana. Take a full breath in. And out. Yeah, rock a little bit. Front to back. Feel the distribution of your weight from the balls of your feet to your heels, and then drop down. And notice how our weight falls more toward our heels. Chin parallel with the earth. Notice if you can bring the head back a little bit so your earlobes are in line with your shoulders. And feel that lengthening up through the spine. Inhale, float the arms overhead. Exhale, dive forward, using that length that you just created in your spine to help guide you into this forward fold. Inhale, lifting up halfway. Exhale, grab your blocks, frame your feet. Have the blocks be at the middle height. Bend your knees and take your right leg as far back as you can. So Jack, you might want to come to the front of the mat. Yeah. So your left knee is bending at a 90-degree angle and your right leg is finding a full extension. That right heel lifted. Finding our low lunge, and then drop that right knee down, uncurl the toe, and then I want you to just move the blocks forward a little bit. We're going to take this left foot out to the side a little bit, so your knee is pointing toward the corner of the room. And then it's kind of a warrior two stance, if you will. Start to deepen the bend in that left knee a little bit. And straighten. Deepening the bend in the knee a little bit. And straighten. Deepening the bend. Maybe dropping the fingertips down to the mat and doing maybe some circles here. There's no right or wrong. Just feel your way through a circle. And if dropping to the floor is a little too intense, just come back up and do those knee bends that we were doing. And maybe even flexing that foot, that left foot. Rebend. And flex. Rebend. And flex. And rebend, flip the arms up just like you would for warrior two. Gaze over those left fingertips. Draw the belly in, lengthen down through the low back. And then bring that left knee in and bring the right leg out to the side. So same thing on this side. So we'll just start hands and hips. Deepen into that right knee. Come back. Moving with your breath. Inhale. And straighten and bending deeper. Maybe now dropping the fingertips down, getting a little deeper here. Maybe moving in a circle to the right a few times. Circle to the left a few times. And maybe coming up on the heel and flexing that foot. Roll on to the sole of the foot. And just alternate coming to the heel. Feeling that deeper stretch in the hamstring when we do straighten that leg in that flex position. Just do what you can, even if it's just for one. If it doesn't feel good, just do some of the other circles that we were doing. And then inhale, float the arms up. Warrior two arms, stay strong out over the right fingertips. Lengthen down through the low back. And then bring hands back. Bring the knee back. Bring the hands again under the hands. Step that left foot forward again. So we're going to float the arms up now for Anjaneyasana. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. And then exhale, hands to the blocks. Tuck your right toes under and lift the right knee back to our low lunge. Coming into a twist, keep the left hand on the block as we open, lifting the right arm, the right side of the chest opening up. And not over twisting where you feel like you're gonna fall over. Try and keep the hips still facing forward. And lowering that hand down, stepping the left leg back, finding plank. You're welcome. And holding plank for a breath here. So Rose, lift your feet up a little bit. Down, right there. And then drop the knees down. Bring that right foot forward, starting in low lunge on this side. Tuck the left toes under. Hands are under the shoulders on the blocks. The blocks help here because then we can lift the chest and we're not rounding in the back. So low lunge. Now drop the knee down and curl the toe. Inhale the arms up, Anjaneyasana. A couple of breaths here. Anjaneyasana is a beautiful pose to find balance. To draw the hips toward our midline. Shoulders moving away from the hips. Lengthening through the low back. One more breath in, and then exhale, hands to the blocks. Tucking left toes under. We come into that twist. Right hand stays on the block. Float that left arm up. Right knee still bending and that right knee tracking with the second toe. So our hips are not rotating in this, just from our navel up. And exhale, hand down to that block. Step the right leg back. We find plank. Lift the hips, transition right into downward facing dog, and then move the blocks to the side so your hands are coming down to the mat, or you are welcome to keep the hands on the blocks if you feel like you can find a deeper stretch for yourself in downward dog with the blocks. One more breath in and out. Look between your hands and walk your feet up to the front of your mat. Bend your knees, letting your seat drop towards your heels. Weight is in your heels. Start lifting the upper body. Belly lifting off the thighs. We're coming into chair pose. Either hands on hips or arms float up by the ears. Try and tuck your tailbone under a little bit to take arch out of your back. And then inhale, stand. That little arch of the upper back that we did before. And exhale, dive forward. Back into forward fold. We're coming into chair again, and we're going to add on. We're going to add a twist. So start to sit back. Seat to heels. Your weight is in your heels. Start lifting the upper body. And bring your hands to heart center this time. So you don't want any arch in the middle of your back. You want to lengthen down through the low back. Twist to the right. Then lean down and drop that left elbow to right knee. Now your left knee is going to want to come forward. Check in with your knees. If that left knee is coming forward, draw it back. So you draw that left hip back to level the hips. And then come back to center, dive forward into forward fold. Hold opposite elbows. And just let the head hang. And inhale, and then big sigh out through the mouth. Let it go. Maybe sway from side to side. Release that bind. Start bending the knees. Coming into chair pose again. Bring the hands to your heart center, twisting to the left. That right elbow hooking outside that left knee. Now draw your right knee back. So the knees are even with each other. Beautiful. And then inhale, hands to center. Dive forward, straightening the legs. Then float the arms out, around, lifting up to stand overhead. Hands to heart center. And let's find Tadasana. Just take a reset breath here. Inhale and exhale. Finding that Ujjayi breath again and moving through one of our sun salutations. Inhale the arms overhead and exhale, diving forward. You're welcome to use blocks here if you want. Inhale, lift up halfway, finding a flat back. Draw the belly in. And then exhale, bend the knees, plant the hands, set both feet back, finding plank pose. Options here, dropping knees, chest, chin, or drop knees and then the upper body, just like we practiced yesterday, or for some who have been working on it, chaturanga. If you're lowering chaturanga, you don't lower to your belly, you just transition right into upward facing dog. And then roll over on the feet into downward facing dog. 5 breaths. And wherever you are in lowering is beautiful. Don't feel like you have to do chaturanga just because other people in the class are doing it. Honoring your body is the most important part. And then we all meet in downward facing dog. Lift your gaze, look between your hands. Either walk your feet up or a light hop forward. Inhale, find that half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the arms around, overhead. Hands to heart center and Tadasana. Bring hands to hips, soften the knees, step the right leg back, finding your high lunge. You might need to wiggle your foot a little bit. Keep that right heel lifted as we bend that left knee, hips facing forward. Take the arms up by the ears. And then we're going to straighten both legs. Drop the right heel down, this wide pyramid. Come back to high lunge, lifting the right heel, bending the left knee. And exhale, straighten both legs. See if that right heel can drop down. Come back to high lunge. We're going to add a twist here. Drop the left arm down, reach the right arm forward, twisting to the left. Yes, little balance here. So really bring awareness to your midline. Rose, try and move that left hand. Yeah, beautiful. Bring that left arm back up, overhead, hands down to the mat, doing a vinyasa in between sides. So find your plank, lower your choice. We all meet in downward facing dog. Ujjayi breath, inhale. On your exhale, feel that constriction in the back of your throat. If you ever need to sigh it out through the mouth, of course, take that option. Lift your gaze, look between your hands, either walk your feet up or hop forward, finding that half lift. Float the arms out to the sides, bend the knees, come up to stand, hands to heart center, to hips, soften the knees. We take that left foot back. So first, finding high lunge here. That left heel is lifted, balancing on the ball of your foot, and the sole of your right foot. Arms come up. Inhale, straighten the front leg. Try and drop that left heel down. And then exhale back into high lunge. Inhale, straighten the right leg. Drop that heel down. Really good stretch for our ankle. And high lunge. One more time, straighten the legs. Drop that heel down. Come back to high lunge. And then draw that right arm back. Left arm reaches forward, coming into our twist. Staying balanced, sole of the right foot. Draw hips toward midline. Inhale, arms back overhead. Exhale, hands down to the mat. Step that right foot back. Either go right into downward dog, or if you want to keep heating up the practice, lower knees, chest, chin, or the upper body, or chaturanga. Inhale into cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale. And we find downward facing dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Make sure the head is soft between the arms, the gaze looking at your knees. There. Nice. So then the neck releases any tension. Look between your hands. Walk or hop your feet up to the top of your mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. And then soften the knees, sweep the arms around and overhead. Hands come to heart center. And Tadasana, maybe soften the gaze or close the eyes here, taking that reset breath. Recall your intention. Breathe in. Breathe out. So yesterday we worked on eagle pose. So today we're going to add on to it just a little bit. We're going to move from tree pose into eagle. So you can do this with a block outside. We're going to start with standing on our left foot. So placing a block on the outside of your left foot. Start by bringing the right knee out to the side. Bring that sole of the foot either inside calf, or maybe we're reaching it up to inside thigh. But you can use a wall if you want. There's always a calibrating that's going on. Maybe we're growing the branches of our tree. Lengthen down through the tailbone, or the toe is staying on the floor. And then bring hands to heart center. Bring that knee in front of you. Wrap the thighs together, lowering your seat just like you would in chair. The right toes coming to that block. Extend the arms out in front of you. Cross the right elbow under left and reach the fingers to the backs of your shoulders. So stay there, or just like we did before, eagle arms. Draw the belly in, sink a little deeper. Start to straighten the legs, release the arms, let that eagle fly. Shake it out. So connecting with nature today, our tree, our favorite tree, seeing those eagles soar. Sometimes it just stops me in my tracks when I see the eagles flying. All right. Walk to the outside of your right foot if you use it on the other side. So finding tree pose, open this left hip. We practice this sometimes on our backs. So the toe can stay on the mat. You can lift the foot to the inside of your calf, just not against your knee. So either the calf or inside thigh. Your gaze is set on something not moving in front of you. When you're ready, growing the branches of your tree, breathing into the little shifts that your body's making. Lengthening down through the low back. Hands to heart center, bring that knee in front of you. Stay standing, or you need to take a break and then lift that back up. And then we wrap. Sitting down in our seat a little bit, left toes on the block. Arms come out in front of us. Left elbow under right. Start by just reaching for your shoulder blades. This might be where you stay. Or wrapping the hands. Squeeze those hips toward each other, thighs squeezing. And then we lift up out, let that eagle fly, shake it out. Ah, yeah. All right. Little breath of joy to shake that out. Yeah. All right, feet about hip distance apart. The breath of joy, we inhale. So it's a third, a third, a third of your inhales. Big exhale. Inhale a third, arms come up in front of you. Next third, arms out to the side. Next third, overhead, and then bend your knees. Let it all out. Inhale. Big exhale. One more. Lift slowly. Hand over the heart, hand over the belly. Close the eyes. So all those sensations you're feeling right now, your prana, your beautiful, energizing, loving, sweet life force. Full breath in, full breath out. Everybody's got a heart. I can feel it all beating. All right, Tadasana. Take your feet wide. Turn your toes out. Start bending the knees. Actually, let's do our shoulders for a moment. Pausing here in goddess pose. So your seat lengthen down through your tailbone. So your seat's dropping toward the earth. Shoulders stack with hips. And then lower your left shoulder down. Look at your right elbow. Inhale back to center. Drop right shoulder. Bend that left elbow. Gaze at your left elbow. Inhale back to center. Lower left side, or whatever side you're on. Yeah. Come back to center. One more time. Feel engagement in your belly here. So as you lower, breathe into the navel. Use your core muscles to lift you back to center. Finishing up whatever side you're on, straighten the legs. And now turn your heels out. Bring your hands to your hips. Fold forward halfway. Bring your weight into the balls of your feet. Fingertips maybe drop down to the floor. Maybe hands, palms drop. Maybe the head lowers. Feel the weight more in the balls of your feet. Let the head completely go. And then inhale, lift up halfway, hands to hips, press into the feet. Turn those heels in again. Bring them a little bit closer. So half foot is on mat and half off. And then we're gonna bend and come into yogi squat, malasana. So blocks are really good here. You can bring one block under your seat like that, or you can stack 2 blocks to support your seat. Try and lift your chest. You've got this. Take that one out. So that both sits bones. Feel the difference? Yeah. Try and put that inside.
Just getting all this nuts on. No.
This is why we do yoga. So yoga, our practice isn't to get a 6-pack or be on the cover of a swimsuit magazine. It's to be able to glide through this aging process. And then we lower, no fancy way. Just come off the block, scoot your sits bones forward, lower down to your elbows, forearms, and then lower all the way onto your back. Feet are on the mat, knees facing up. Press into your feet, lift your hips, and then lengthen down through your low back and then lower the back to the mat. Just that little adjustment helps our spine to be more neutral here as we come into bridge pose. So on your inhale, press into your feet and lift your hips. Lifting the back off the mat. Feel your glutes engaged, your thighs engaged, your gaze and nose facing the ceiling, and your chest is trying to move towards your chin. One more breath in. Exhale, slowly lower, one vertebrae at a time. Pause. Press into your feet. Lift your hips just an inch this time. Shift your hips to the right a couple of inches. Drop the back to the mat. And now hug the knees all the way into your chest. They're going to be on a little bit of a slant, an angle. And now lower them to the left. Lower them down to the floor. So your knees and thighs are in line with your navel. Your knees are making a 90-degree angle, flexing the feet. Left hand can rest on top of the right knees as your right arm extends out from the shoulder. So not higher than the shoulder, just right out from the shoulder, palm face up. And then maybe turn your head to look out over your right arm, if that's comfortable for the neck. Breathing into this twist. Beautiful time to let go. Really feel the earth rise up to support you here. So noticing parts of the body that you're really trying to hold up and see if you can release. Next inhale, use your core muscles to lift the knees back to center, lowering the feet to the mat. Bring the spine back to neutral. Lift the hips an inch. Shift them to the left a couple of inches. Lower back down. Draw those knees into the chest and lower down to the right. Left arm extends straight out. Maybe even glide that left shoulder blade under. Stacking the feet. Releasing tension in the neck, shoulders. Our twists help to detoxify our bodies, our gut, our intestines. And when that's moving more freely, the messages to our brain move more freely. Inhale the knees back to center, lowering the feet to the mat, bring the spine back to neutral, and then take one of those blocks on the lowest height, slide it under your sacrum. So the bony part of your low back, slide it under, and we're gonna do a little psoas stretch here. So your pelvic and hips are lifted, then extend one leg out at a time, and option to float the arms overhead. Only an option. So legs are resting on the mat. Heels are resting on the mat. Beautiful, everyone. Bring all your awareness to the psoas muscle, big muscle that wraps around the pelvic area, the pelvic bone. The psoas muscle attaches our spine to our legs. Release any effort in your shoulders. One more breath in and out. Let the arms float back down. Bend one knee out at it, bring it back in, and then press into the feet, coming off the block, lowering down. Heel toe your feet as wide as your mat. Maybe create a little bit more distance between your heels and your sits bones. One hand over the heart, one hand over the belly, and let the thighs and knees fall together. Start to slow down, cool down. So elongate your inhales a little, elongate your exhale. When you feel ready to release the arms to the floor, let them release and soften. If this constructive rest pose feels good for your back, you can stay here, or you're welcome to extend one heel out at a time, lengthening the legs, coming into corpse pose. Take one deep inhale and get out through your mouth. Start to settle into your natural breath. Scanning the body for areas that you can soften. Let go of any gripping. go of any effort in. Martin Luther King said, make a career of humanity. Commit yourself to the noble struggle for equal rights. You will make a greater person of yourself, a greater nation of your country, and a finer world to live in. There's always going to be a struggle. How we react to it is the practice. Struggles are often the uncontrollables. Our reaction is something we can control. This yoga practice, these ancient teachings, practice them. We get curious about them. Shavasana, often called the most advanced pose of them all, asking us to be still. But it's in the stillness that we find healing, that we find clarity, that we learn to let go. That we learn how to fine-tune our focus, to build strength, to build lung capacity, help our bones and our gut stay healthy. Ahimsa, laying the foundation of our practice. Practicing it off the mat in daily life through your relationships and choices. And on your mat by shifting your intention, letting go of ideas about how your practice should be. Relaxing into what it actually is. The mind wanders in this moment of stillness, maybe picturing your own inner light. That might draw you toward your heart space or your belly, maybe the middle of your brain. we slowly start to invite in small movements, wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes, circling the wrists and ankles. As you start to invite in a deeper breath, maybe the arms float overhead on an inhale. Knees hugging into your chest, rolling onto your right side. And taking a pause here on your right side to invite in a deeper breath. Slowly making your way up to a seat. And keeping the eyes soft or closed. Let's inhale, circling our arms overhead, palms joining together, drawing them down to your heart space. Draw down gratitude and thanks. A soft bow of the head toward your heart. Thank yourself for being here. I thank you for being here. Our friends at home, thank you for joining us. We close with the sound of Om. Take a deep inhale and sigh it out through the mouth, and then we'll Om on the next exhale. Om. Wishing you a beautiful day. Namaste. Thank you so much. Our friends at home, thank you for allowing us to be in your home with you.
Thank you.
Yoga and meditation, 1:30.
Thank you very much.
Class starting February. We'll change to 9:30 instead of 10. Shifting a little early.
Thank you.
Yes. 1:30 tomorrow. Yes.
Just started, yeah, oh, just today.
How are you?
I'm question. I just, well, much easier. I know they are, because we've been in there and I pick us up.
Yeah. I only saw him, I happened to see him one day because I came early, and I definitely saw like what looked like wet or not getting something. Yeah.
Because I can't help it, I can't, like, you know, like last week, she was like, I was going to go on, really, but then when I got to it, yeah, and they come like clockwork, so I'm not, you know, I'm just asking, release me. I'm sorry.
Let me grab my 2 clocks.
Well, just yeah, I don't know, you know. Like, and congrats on, oh my God, how was that? That must have been, like, oh yeah, you know what, yeah. Cause you know everyone has their spot. Were they good? In the spirit of yoga? Yeah. Good. Yes, right, of course. It's almost like everyone zipped up when you're first here, but then it's all. Thank you. Yeah, all good. Love it. Good. Guys, see me more. I'm over here in normal rainy season here. We're getting rain now. I would say.
Yes.
So, yeah.
How you doing?
Good. Much better. Yeah, but I'm much better.
Good, awesome. Yeah, Nick, I saw that they were getting some snow.
Yeah, there's a little snow up north today. They can have,
Winter has arrived.
we know what to do with the snow, and we know what to do without the snow, right?
My dad is making his way down on
Oh,
Thursday.
that's nice.
So he drives to that auto train in Virginia.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
nice. It takes it to
Sanford.
outside of Orlando.
Yeah, and then he'll start his visit on the East Coast. He's got, my dad lives in New Jersey,
That's where I live.
a little town called Bloomingdale.
I know, yeah, up north, yeah.
Yeah, that's where I grew up. That's where I grew up.
Yeah.
And then, so he's got cousins and so many fraternity brothers still. He's 86 and he's still got this whole group over in the Boca area. Then he'll make his way to my side, to our side on February 1st. So yeah.
That's great. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You as well.